right, so as I'm going live on Facebook, I want to again thank you all for joining. This is our final family engagement session. They've all been posted to the ESF Family Weekend website, closed caption through YouTube. So there's usually a day or two delay to having that happen. We haven't figured out if we're going to do more of these. We're happy to. So if there is interest, certainly let us know and we can help coordinate that. But for right now, our plan is that these 5 sessions plus the bonus one we did with first year faculties, we're going to be at. Those of you may have also seen that today we have posted our October family newsletter. So if you need to get added to it, there is a QR code that we can post on the Facebook page. We don't have a formal way to collect family email at this point, but I know that that is in the works with our new banner. We're just getting up and running some of the other features of banner. So thank you for your patience with that. And I am going to get started by introducing 2 folks actually. So joining us live and speaking for Housing Info, we have Kim Max, who is the community manager at Centennial Hall. Hi, Kim, and I'll let you introduce yourself, but I wanted to make sure we don't forget Savonne Proctor, who is the assistant community manager, answering us in the chat box. So thank you, Savonne, for also being here, and you're welcome to chime in if you want to talk about anything too, but we will get started with having Kim Max talk a little bit about what she's got in store. So Kim, can you start by introducing yourself and we'll get started.
Yep. So my name is Kimberly Max. I am the community manager for Centennial Hall. I have been with Centennial Hall for, about 10 years now. So I have really been able to see the building from construction all the way through now. And prior to this, I worked at Syracuse University. And I will say that I very much enjoy working with ESF students and at ESF. They have been kind of the joy and the reason why I keep staying. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about housing, both what's going on so far this year, as well as kind of prepping for what's going to happen for next year. So I've got a couple of slides, not too much in terms of kind of slides that you got to stare at, just more talking points for myself. So a little bit about what has happened so far this year. We have had a busy semester. It has been jam-packed. So we've had over 60 students who participated in a tie-dye event. We had over 40 students who painted pots, as well as they potted their succulents. We had 30 students who wrote letters to friends here, there, and all corners of the United States. We've got Halloween coming up, so you may see your students may see the RAs doing some events for Halloween. We do ask that if folks are deciding to have pumpkins or carve pumpkins, that they don't put them in the hallways, because sometimes people forget and they tend to melt, which is just kind of gross, and we get fruit flies and all that yucky stuff. So just a couple of stats. We have had 199 maintenance requests that have been completed so far this year. We have had 80 lockouts. A large number, when I pulled this one up today, we've had almost 3,000 packages. I'm sure that that is up to 3,000, right now, because that was before we got packages today. And then over last week, we did a Wi-Fi upgrade, which vastly expanded the number of access points in the building. I do know that there is some lingering issues. We are working through those. All of the students today got an email with some information, as well as kind of a reminder of who to call, who to email if there are technology problems. But we are hoping that that will vastly improve what we already had going on. So that's what's going on so far. Winter break. Just wanted to give everybody just a little heads up about winter break. We are asking that students vacate by 2 p.m. on Wednesday, November 25th, which is the day before Thanksgiving. We ask that people please plan ahead. Our RA staff, they're all students too, and they can't leave until all of the rest of the students leave. And they want to go home for break as well. So we ask that people are considerate of them and make sure that we are planning ahead and trying to vacate as soon as we can. We will be sending some specific information in the coming weeks. Students will have a list of tasks that they need to complete before they leave. That includes removing trash, removing food, unplugging their refrigerators, turning down the heat. We try to do a lot of things to make sure that we are conserving energy over the course of winter break. And with this winter break being longer, we are hoping that we can save some money and really keep down those energy costs and practice what we preach at ESF. So we will also be sending over break some information about returning for semester. There are some details and some things that we just have not finalized. So we don't have all of the details and all of the information regarding that, but we will send that information as soon as it is ready. So next fall, a little bit about this. So we will be sending information by the end of October regarding housing for fall 2021, spring 2022. It's crazy that we're thinking about 21, 22 already. We do have 3 different unit types that are available for returning students. I had an emergency happen today, so this was supposed to be a little bit more fleshed out in terms of pictures and stuff, so I apologize, but we're going to do this all from memory. So we have 3 unit types that are available for returning students. We have a 2-bedroom suite, and our 2-bedroom suites, they have 2 individual bedrooms, a shared bathroom. They have a common area that has a small kitchenette table, an under-the-counter refrigerator, and a microwave, and a kitchen sink, a little kitchen cabinet area. We also have a 2-bedroom suite with a kitchenette. That is not a full kitchen. Those have a full-size 3/4 apartment size, like a bigger refrigerator, as well as a 2-burner cooktop. They do not have an oven, but they do have a 2-burner flat cooktop in them. And then those also have the 2 individual bedrooms as well as the shared bathroom in the common area. We also have a 4-bedroom apartment, and that is 4 individual bedrooms. And those bedrooms are extra special because they have an extra long full-sized bed. And in those, there is 2 bathrooms, I mean. So each student only shares the bathroom again with one other student. There is a fully furnished living room, and that has an entertainment stand, a sectional couch, a coffee table, some end tables. And then that one has a full kitchen. So it's got a dishwasher, a full stove with an oven, a microwave, the whole shebang. So we house approximately, about half of the sophomore class. We can house as many students who return their application and follow the process as possible. Unless somebody is really, really late in the process, like May or June, we have always been able to house as many students who have wanted housing for the following year as we possibly could. We do our best. We can't always offer people their top choice of unit type. So if you're going to be if your student really wants a specific unit type and they're very, very late, sometimes I can't make that happen, but we at least will have a space for them. If it's very late, unfortunately, sometimes we've already started with transfer students and things like that, or we might be full, but we try our best to get people into Centennial if they want to stay. So that's it for my kind of formal-ish. Oh wait, forgot one thing. So a little bit about becoming an RA. And Savonne, who is in the chat, as well as Sephora, who's our graduate residence director, they will be starting this process soon. So your students are going to want to watch for posters and other information coming out about the application process for that position. We hire a total of 10 resident assistants per year, and they receive a room as well as a $1,200 per semester scholarship. The room is designated, so if your student really wants a suite with a kitchenette, we don't have RAs that live in those units. We do have RAs that are in first year rooms, so in a double room, and then we also have RAs that are in the regular 2-bedroom suites. The folks that are in the 2-bedroom suites do have a roommate, but they do have an opportunity to choose that roommate if they have somebody that they would like to live with. So that's it for my stuff. So what questions do people have for me?
Kim, I saw questions. I posted the link to the different room types that are on the Centennial Hall website. So if you could comment on the pricing that's on the website, just so people know what's up with that.
Yeah. So the pricing, so the back end of this, there's some funkiness with the pricing. So in the information that we send, there will be a semesterly price, and those prices that you see right now, it's a back end accounting thing. Those are broken down because I've got to report some stuff monthly, but we will send out semesterly prices. You can expect about a 3% increase year over year. So those prices that are up are current year prices. We have not updated because we've still got spring semester folks coming in. So those are updated come, February or so.
Okay, great.
By the semester.
Okay. And then can you touch on what rooms might require a meal plan so people have that sense as well?
So all of our returning students are not required to have a meal plan. So no returning or transfer student is required to have a meal plan. If you choose to have a meal plan, that is your choice, but we don't require anybody to have a meal plan beyond our first year students.
Okay, so just for families to understand, obviously the rates are kind of not in a place, and I assume you'll have those as soon as you possibly can with corporates and all that, but 3% increase, and then students don't need to have a meal plan, but they obviously need to have a budget for food. So certainly, do you see any sort of across the board kind of general plan students have for food? Do they generally get some trailhead dollars, or do you really see no set average of sophomores and transfers with meal plans?
It's a little bit all over the board. I would say that it's pretty common for our returning students to at least have about $300 at the trailhead. It really depends on the student, though. I know some returning students that they love their they love their Sadler meal plan. They like the convenience of it, so they continue it. So it just really depends on the student, but I would say the most popular is at least a small amount of trailhead money.
All right, great. Thank you for that. I see some questions about just reserving and roommates. So just to read the questions, can returning students request specific floors or locations when they're doing their housing?
So we will do that actually in the spring semester. So we do it relatively late because, right now, we're in October, people have known each other for about 6-7-ish weeks, and who they're friends with in the spring semester may change. So we actually wait until about spring break to do room selection and that final roommate matching. If you know who you know right now, you want to live with these people, you can go ahead and request them. but we won't finalize anything until after spring break, just to make sure that you're still friends with who you think you're going to be friends with, because things may change, or people may choose to, leave ESF. Things may be up in the air. So we really try to wait a little bit on that piece.
Yes, absolutely. I know that that does come up a lot. And a question that came up, which thank you to Savonne for monitoring this with us, but can our student return to dorm living or residential living after living off campus for 1 or 2 years? And the answer is yes. Can you go over that a little bit more, especially given COVID and some of that too?
Yeah. So really, once we put out the applications, part of the reason I don't have applications right now is that they're going to be all online. So I'm working through some. We've got a new computer program, so I'm working through some changes and making sure that I've got the right information. So in terms of a student who has moved off campus, or perhaps they took a semester off or a year off, whatever, all they're going to need to do is to go onto our website and fill out the application once it's ready. And we will go from there, and we will get them into whatever, what the unit type that we've got available for them. So it should be, in theory, a pretty easy process to go through to get back into housing.
All right, thank you. And I know that this is about housing in Centennial Hall, but I will say, and Kim, you and Savonne may have experience with this, but there are oftentimes some sophomores who already sign leases to live off campus. And I don't know the market right now. I know traditionally it starts very early, like August, September for the following year. And so sometimes, as Kim mentioned, sophomores might assume that their new friend that they've maybe known a couple weeks is a great roommate. And we often see some sophomores, especially, students who are in their second full year at ESF struggle. Of course, this happens beyond ESF. So what advice would you have? Because I know you've been in the housing world for a long time, Kim, and I used to work in the housing office that did off-campus living at SU before ESF. And what is your advice on that piece, that students often are saying, oh, I can live off campus because of X, Y, and Z reasons? What would you say to families about that?
I would say look at the whole package. Living in Centennial Hall, I'm going to be very honest. If you are looking at just dollars and cents, and that is the only thing that you're looking for, you can find a place off campus for cheap. I hear students being like, I pay $200 a month, I pay $300 a month, but how many roommates do you have? Where is the location? Look at safety, look at how you feel about it. What is included? Sometimes heat's included, sometimes it's not. I hear stories from students that live off campus and they're like, I didn't turn on my heat all winter. And I'm like, what? So it's just, you've got to think about the things that Centennial Hall includes, and you've got to balance it. Obviously I want to serve as many students as I can. And I want students to have a good experience within Centennial Hall, but sometimes people, they want to live off campus, and cool, but I want people to just be aware of what you're signing, read your leases, make sure that you understand what are the obligations. One of the things with Centennial, you go abroad in the spring semester, we're going to let you out. We're going to say, have a great time on your semester at sea, your field studies, wherever you're going. Whereas an off-campus landlord, they're going to continue to charge you the rent. Same thing if you graduate early, we're going to say, have congratulations, so excited for you, and we're going to release people from those contracts. So you've really got to think about, there's positives and negatives to everything, and you just got to decide what's right for you.
Absolutely. Thank you for those points. And I'd say in the world I used to work in, students might again have that, oh my gosh, it's so close to campus, it looks beautiful, and it might be pretty clean. It might not be the dead of winter when some of the homes are not well insulated, and like Kim said, they're kind of keeping it lower because it's expensive, especially a home that they have that's a couple bedrooms. So they don't necessarily understand who has to be responsible for mowing or snow plowing. And so there's a lot more responsibility than living in Centennial Hall. And so, you know, we always like to caution students that it might seem like it's the best thing ever, but they may not yet know some of the questions to ask for and to really be smart about reading the lease. And, you know, we do hear stories like that where they signed a lease, they didn't even look at it, for example, especially new transfers, or they just don't understand all the items, or roommate drama of my roommate ended up moving out and going to Centennial, and now we actually inherited that cost. And so financially, yes, sometimes when you compare just the bare bones, it could be cheaper, but when you look at all of the extras and cleaning and any repairs that maybe are not covered by your lease, not to scare people at all, because sometimes it does work out fine and a lot of times it does, but it's also really important for students to really understand that it's a whole house you have to clean as well. So it's not just a couple little kitchen items, it's the whole gamut. And, you know, so it's just important for you all to have conversations with your students. There is off-campus living. I'll push out the link so people do know that there is resources there. But I want to turn back to Centennial because there are some good questions coming in. I don't know if you see the chat. I'll let you scroll if you can to about 7:19. There is a comment on the Bursar's website about the rates, and I know that there's, you know, some discrepancies perhaps in the 3% increase. So is there anything you could add about the prices that was posted here for the different room types, the A through F?
Yep. So those are semesterly rates. Because of the way that back end stuff works with the Centennial Hall website, those have to be listed monthly, but it's not monthly, it's an installment. So it's broken up into 5 different kind of installments. So really use those semesterly rates. Like that's what's going to go on your student's bill. Like that's what you need to pay attention to, is that semesterly rate. And that semesterly rate is actually what's going to be on the contract that your student will sign, not that broken down piece. That is a behind the scenes number. I wish I didn't have to show it, but I can't change the computer programming. So that's a little bit about that, that pricing difference that you're seeing. And those are current year prices. I have not updated anything with next year's prices because we still have people coming in for the spring semester.
Okay, thank you again for clarifying that. I know that it is a little confusing.
So yes.
Yep. Okay, a question that came up is what happens if they sign up for a Centennial Hall room and then they change their mind later on?
So if the student is looking to change to a different unit type, we can accommodate those as long as there is space available. One thing to know, if you're looking to, you sign the contract, not just the application piece, but the contract, that is binding, and we don't release students to live off campus. So if you're still going to be an ESF student on the Syracuse campus, we're not going to release you to live off campus. So think about what that commitment is. And are you really willing, do you really want to live in Centennial Hall? But I will say, if you end up going to Ranger School, you study abroad, you transfer, you withdraw, you're not physically going to be on the Syracuse campus, or you're not going to be a student at ESF, then we will just automatically release you. There is a deadline for notifying us of that. And off the top of my head, it's right in the contract. It's either July 1st or July 15th. After that date, you'll forfeit the $200 advanced payment, because we do have a $200 advanced payment that'll be due with the contract. And that is applied towards the fall semester bill. So if your fall semester bill is $6,000, you're actually going to pay $5,800 because you've already paid $200 of it. So if you notify us after that date that's in the contract, you forfeit that money that you've already paid.
Okay, thank you. And so I know there's a question about Ranger School, and that would be a reason to get out of the contract.
That's
correct. Excuse me. I did want to turn a little bit to spring because I see that some questions are coming up about that. Excuse me. If, because students don't know yet what their spring semester schedule will look like, be another opt-out window, or can we talk a little bit about what you might envision spring to be for Centennial residents?
So I don't know. So I don't know institutionally if we're going to have an opt-out window. We will follow what the institution does. So if there's an opt-out window, there will also be an opt-out window for Centennial Hall, and those deadlines will be hard and fast. You know, if you don't meet that deadline, you know, deadline is a deadline, because we've got to do some planning on our end. So that's, you know, we just don't know what's going to happen. So as soon as we have the information, we will send it out. Hopefully, you know, sometime at the beginning, middle-ish of winter break. We're trying our best to get things out in a timely manner, but sometimes we don't know what we don't know.
All right, and I did want to clarify that Dr. Newman, our provost, who was on one of the Zooms early on, did say that he is giving faculty a solid deadline to decide their teaching modality. And I know that there are quite a few options, but obviously if your students' classes are fully virtual and they don't have anything that would meet in person, and obviously we have to see what happens with the pandemic and any further cases. Hopefully we've been doing really good, I have to say, so far. But certainly there's a lot at stake and variable that we just can't decide. So it's nice advising week has been pushed later. Those dates were sent in the newsletter today, in fact, and an actual registration is in December. So I am sure that once all of those details are firmed up, then if there is an opt-out window, it'll all ideally match up. So, but again, as Kim mentioned, there won't be this second wave of opt-out period again. So again, your students will know some more of their advisor relationships and stuff, so they can certainly touch base with more people, use their peers to talk about that. So another question that came up was cleaning and kind of in between. So do you have any sense of what cleaning might look like for the winter period between the semesters?
So we won't go into student rooms unless there's a vacancy. And we do that actually to protect the students' belongings, just to make sure that there's no funny business or anything. So when your student leaves their room, you know, we'll go in for some maintenance stuff, but we don't, because we don't want to touch things, we don't want to move things. So we won't be cleaning student rooms. It also took our staff pretty much from March until August to clean every room over the summer. So we won't be able to hit every room over winter break. If there is a particular need for something and you want to make the request, we can see if maintenance can accommodate that. But as a general rule, we won't be cleaning rooms unless there, you know, somebody has moved out and there's a vacancy, then we'll clean those spaces.
All right, thank you. And then a question about, will a parent or family member or guest be allowed into the dorm room to help move things out? And the answer would be yes, students will be allowed one guest to occupy them for a winter move out. I did miss a question just about room types and what could be co-ed. So can you touch on that again, just so people get that answer? Because I know the chat gets pretty clogged up.
Yep. So if a student is, if they request somebody who is, you know, I don't care who you live with, you know, as long as you all mutually request each other, you know, all bets are off. If I am placing a student with another student, then what Centen does is we look at self-identified gender identity, and we will match somebody with somebody of the same self-identified gender identity.
Awesome, thank you for that. And I did see a question pop up from Facebook as well. So can students change rooms for the spring? And if so, what is that process?
So what they need to do is they need to get in touch with Savonne and do that via email. They can actually email centennialhall@graystar.com and they can put in that request. If they are looking to move in with somebody, it needs to be mutual because I don't want somebody being a creeper. So I want to make sure that everybody's cool with people moving in with each other. If it is just, I want to move somewhere, they can put that request out there as well. If they're looking to change room types, we can accommodate just about anything. We are going to ask as much as possible that things are done well in advance, so that when we return in January, that things are already set. As much as possible, so that we're not trying to move things around and we get this domino effect. So we would like, if people already know that they want to do some moves, if we can accommodate those and make those happen before winter break, that is ideal.
All right. Gotcha. And can you touch a little bit on just general student communications? Because I know that there's a lot of dates and stuff, and how will you communicate, and will families get those emails as well?
So we do send out information via email. We will copy guarantors on that if your student has listed a guarantor. If they didn't list anybody as a guarantor, please make sure to follow up with your student. Because then I don't have your information on file. So, make sure to follow up with your student. They're gonna get the link, they're gonna get all of the information via email. We will also probably send out a text message that says check your email, which is, just a good reminder for folks. We have about 300 students that have signed up for our text alerts. So we do send occasional text messages that say, hey, an email came out, make sure that you read it. It's really important information. We try not to send too many of those, but yes, we will send information to guarantors that were listed on students' accounts, and then we'll send it to the students as well.
All righty, thank you so much. I know that they do get a lot of emails, but if there's ever a question about it, just have them sort, or I know Centennial does great with also posting things on Facebook. So definitely let us know there. And it is part of their responsibility for sure to keep up, because housing is way more important, very important. There's a lot of emails about, campus events and stuff, but certainly anything with Centennial, I know that that's really important to check those out. Let's see, I saw a good one about the communal kitchen renovations. How are they looking, and will the communal kitchen be ready for spring semester?
Yeah. So actually we just did a soft opening this week. So just kind of making sure that everything's working. There was some venting that needed to be finished. So we've got kind of a soft opening. We'll do kind of an official opening email sometime next week, just to make sure that everything's all ready to go.
Very cool. That's great. Mm-hmm. All right. I see one about just general move out. What will move out look like for November? And do you have any insights on what move in will look like in January?
So move out, we are going to ask that folks, if they are requiring or requesting somebody to come in to help them, that they're going to sign up for a time to leave. If somebody is, say going, they're taking a planes, trains, and automobiles. If they're kind of leaving on their own, go do what you need to do. Just be out by that 2 o'clock time. If, student is requesting some assistance to leave, we are going to ask that they sign up for a time. Like I said, we are asking people to be conscious of timing, particularly on that Wednesday. Our RAs, they work very hard over the course of the semester, and they are students too. They want to go home for break, and we have to hold them hostage until everybody gets out of the building, so they can do their final walkthroughs and make sure that they finish all of their tasks. So please make sure that you are nice to your RAs and leave in a timely manner on that Wednesday.
All right, and then again for in the spring semester.
So spring semester will probably be somewhat similar to the fall, with some of the signups making sure that we are maintaining social distance and those types of things. There will probably be some testing protocols that we will do. We're working through all of those details and more information to come.
All right, thank you. I know that there's a lot that could change, certainly is what states are hotspot states by January and stuff. And I know that ESF, which is obviously definitely outside of your realm, but does have a have to figure out what the beginning of the semester looks like and kind of SUNY requirements. So certainly we will be pushing a lot of that out when the time comes. Let's see what else. These are great questions. We really appreciate it. Let me see. Syracuse University has already announced that spring break would be canceled and the start of spring semester would be delayed a week. Will ESF do the same? I do know that that is potentially, I believe that's sort of firm that that is our plan. I guess I sometimes know things that I'm not sure if we need to have SUNY vet it or if it's official. But yes, we would follow SU's schedule because of our shared relationship with similar same courses like physics and stuff like that. So, so yeah, we would unfortunately have to bypass spring break for the reason of everything else. If students went away for a week for wherever they went, to move them back in for the 5 weeks, that's usually after spring break or so, that does add more chance of increased infection and the pandemic spreading and outbreaks. So certainly that is something that we don't want to do, but it's just best practice, and a lot of colleges have across the country have done that. So I do know that there was a question about just kind of what to bring for winter break, and obviously anything that, because Savonne has so nicely put, we don't allow re-entry into the building. It is just too much of a safety issue and staffing issue, I presume. And so really any of that, you don't know, where you might want to go, snow pants, all of that, medications. Is there anything else that you see that maybe people tend to forget when they're leaving for winter break?
If you are traveling, so make sure that you're taking any travel documents. Not that anybody's really traveling, but sometimes we always get people who are like, I forgot my passport. We've had people who are like, I forgot my skis and my snowboard. So anything that you're really going to need, particularly because this is a really long break, you're leaving at Thanksgiving and you're not coming back until probably the end-ish of January. So you really want to make sure you can leave most of your items if you're not going to need them. But if you need something, really make sure that you're taking what you need, because we are very low staffed over break. With all of the holidays, our professional staff, we take a break too. We take some vacation time. We take our holidays. So there may not be people in the building to accommodate those things. And so, we don't allow people to come back into the building to retrieve items. So if you got medications, any of that stuff, take it, take it with you.
And I understand that this might be on some people's minds that your student may or may not fully have their schedule worked out around November 24th or 25th. And so how would you advise someone who is potentially really strongly thinking about going virtual in the spring, who maybe isn't currently virtual? Would you advise them to just take everything? Or do you kind of have to just use their best judgment, because then they have to come back and deal with? How might you advise someone? I know that's a very tricky question, but it might be on people's minds.
I mean, if you really think that you're going to try to go online for the spring and you want, not knowing if ESF is going to offer that, I would suggest taking your belongings home. And then, if you do come back in the spring, you can bring your items back because that room will still be your room. But, if it really is going to depend on your own personal preferences and what you are comfortable with.
Yeah, totally understand. And then if students, sorry, If students are are virtual currently for the fall semester and now coming into Centennial for the spring, what advice might you give those families, just not just for selecting and figuring out housing, but more just trying to fit in and just deal with being on campus for the first time after so many months of not?
Yeah. So for those students that might be coming for the first time, whether it's our transfer students, brand new first year students, or those that were virtual in the fall semester, I would really say get to know people and put yourself out there. It's not easy this year, but we offer events, we offer things to do. Just be present and, do your best. I would say, sit in a lounge, do your homework versus sitting in your room. It's very easy with all the virtual and all of the Zoom meetings and all of those things. Just sit in your room, sit in front of the computer, go to the dining hall and come back and not ever get out. Yes, we do need to maintain social distancing. We need to be safe. ESF has still had 0 cases. We want to maintain that. We are very proud of our students for that, but we still want people to have a good experience and to meet people and to get to know each other and to do the things that ESF students do. So there's a balance, and we want to make sure that those new students get right into that fold.
Absolutely. And I know that, spring is spring, but it's certainly more winter for a lot of the semester. And I know that we have really great areas like going around the cemetery and certainly other areas where students can, get outside. And so bring your warm gear, ask for that for Christmas and the holiday season, winter break, all of that. Because I know that it could be a long winter, but certainly whatever students do and like, we'll always try and get our clubs outside. Unless there is a reason to prevent that for a little bit of time. But certainly that's really important, and a big part of our culture at ESF is, it might be cold for other people, but just put on their layers and enjoy the weather, snowshoe and slide out in the hills that we have around campus. And so I think that we'll have a lot of fun snow creatures on the quad and Hall, which we adore so much. And so I do like winter because of our students, and I'm a skier as well. A moderate skier, of course, but I am a skier. I am a mom of 3 kids, and that's my toddler who's 3. So Kim, can you touch on some of the things the RAs might have in the future coming up that is kind of in the works, so we can think about programming for our students as well?
Yep. So I know they've got some stuff planned for Halloween, which includes some candy and some going door to door. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but you might see some of the RAs in costume. They are working on some decorating types of contests. They've got a whole bunch of ideas. So I know program proposals and like all their planning was due today. So I haven't seen a list of what's coming up, but they've got a wide variety of virtual and in-person programs that are coming up. I know Halloween is a big thing that they want to hype up. So be on the lookout for all of those things.
Great. I know that we have really creative RAs, and so you had it, but I know some people joined later in the session, but we do have some really strong RAs who I think learned so much from not just the benefits, but really the intrinsic or the kind of soft skills. So can you touch on, and I know you were an RA back a while ago too, but
way too long ago.
Just a year or 2 ago, right? But being an RA, can you touch on what really is gained by being an RA? Again, besides the obvious, I mean, you could touch on the other stuff, but can you kind of paint a picture for our families?
So our RAs are fantastic. They learn a lot of skills in terms of managing their time. They learn skills in leadership, in program, like in event planning and that project management, conflict resolution, and just being able to express themselves in a crowd, making sure that they can have a one-on-one conversation with somebody. There are so many things that are not tangible with the RA position, but there are so many benefits to it. It is not easy. It is a lot of work. It is some long nights. It is some frustrating days. But at the end of the year, when you look back and you see, particularly a first-year student who came in as a very shy, quiet first-year student who had no friends, who may have been really homesick, and at the end of the year, you see them with a group of friends and they are blossoming and they are part of that ESF community. That is kind of the epitome of what an RA does.
Absolutely. And we really have great RAs every year who go on and do really great things. It's so impressive because you pick strong students who thrive academically and manage their time well, and working with them from leadership to just collaboration, orientation. They are really great students. And so not everyone could be an RA. Certainly only 10 RAs planned for fall of 2021, correct? But certainly, you gain so much that, is really important. If your student wants to try it out, certainly go through the process and talk to their current RA as well to get that.
And I will put a plug out there that we have a lot of smarty pants RAs who somehow most of our RAs are well above. We've got a 3.5 or is it 3.0 GPA requirement. We have many RAs that are 3.9, 4.0, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it. They're way smarter than I ever was.
Yeah, and a lot of them end up becoming involved in student organizations or, sometimes even an athlete too. And so I really, and I see the love and passion for the things they do, which is a big theme of our students as well. They become so passionate and committed to the work that they do. So, but I wanted to just see if there's any, this is a good one. How many applications do you typically get for RAs?
It really depends on the year. Usually somewhere between 30 and 40. So it's a pretty competitive process.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's see if there is any more questions. I think, again, these are really great. Certainly the theme is more to come, I think, for the spring move-in and the process. But again, we had mentioned probably very similar to the fall. Fall 2021 and rates are certainly similar to what you kind of are seeing, but certainly there'll be a percentage of increase, typically 3%. So making sure that talking with your student about what kind of room type, if they're thinking about off-campus housing, certainly really talk with them about it, and who they pick for roommates. And, certainly there are people at SU to help as well. So that's something I forgot to put in the chat, but I will right now. And I'm going to check Facebook just to make sure I didn't skip anyone there. I know that we'll have some COVID testing as well. So I assume, again, we will have to officially firm those details out before we're firm on what we're doing. But again, probably very similar to what we did in the fall semester with the swab. It's like, are there any last minute things that you might want to share related to Centennial Hall life?
I hope that everybody has had a great fall semester so far. I know, everybody kind of didn't really know what this fall was going to look like. There were so many unknowns. And so I know from my perspective, things have gone so well, better than I could have expected. I hope that your students are having a good experience. I know that it's not as raucous in the hallways. There's not as much kind of activity going on, but we hope that they're making some solid connections with their classmates, and that they are studying hard, doing well in their classes, and that they're finding the support that they need.
Absolutely, I definitely agree. And I know that, again, yes, the session will be posted on the ESF the student ESF parents page, as well as the family weekend website, which is www.esf.edu/family weekend. I like to put them in YouTube, so they're closed caption, of course, so that it usually takes a couple hours, and then it'll be up there in the morning. So again, thank you for being here. This is our last session. If you don't mind putting any more contact info for yourself or the Centennial email, just again, I know that there might be private questions people want to ask. I know that nothing about pets or what to bring has come up, and none of that has changed since the summer and what you've learned. So certainly, if you have any of those private questions, feel free to ask. But I really want to, again, thank you all for being here. Kim, you've been on so many for us over the several months. And Savonne, same thing for you. Thank you for supporting our students and our wonderful RAs and our front desk assistants. And, you know, you run a well-oiled machine. And so it's really important to thank you all for the work you do. I know that there's a lot of items to work out, like Wi-Fi and a lot of trash from the beginning with so many to-go meals. And, you know, thank you everyone for your kindness and grace, because it's not like we all had a playbook on how to handle this, but I really think that our students have really benefited. And, you know, again, we're patient. Savonne, I know that I can't remember if you said you didn't have a microphone, but if there was anything more you wanted to say out loud, I wouldn't want to ignore that opportunity as well.
Hello, can you hear me?
You're good.
Oh, okay. No, I just wanted to add, thank you all for your patience again. Like what Laura and Kim were saying, I felt like our opening went really well with not knowing so much of what to expect and what was going on. So thank you all for your patience. We are really trying to be proactive to be even more prepared for the spring of things that may come up. And we are working hard to create our timelines and get you information as soon as possible this month. So thank you for your patience. It's coming. I promise you'll see it soon. Good night.
Thank you, Savonne. And I'm just, like I said, I'm going to post about student living because they did merge. So I put the old website, but there is still some good information there. It's great that we have this relationship with SU, because they do work with a lot of people and a lot of the landlords and stuff. So I just can't seem to find the other link, but I will push this out as well so that y'all know about that. It is, I think that this is it, but so thank you again. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself as well. I'll put my email on here, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, everybody.